been talking about standards and mentality. I wanted to ask you about a moment at the end of the cup final when everyone was celebrating, but Casemiro went to Bruno Fernandes to tell him off about not passing the ball, I think, to Jadon Sancho. Is that an example of keeping standards all the time that you want to see, and having that mentality that you can always improve and do better, even when you've just won a cup?
Yeah, I think it shows we are winning a trophy. We are happy, but the players they have the approach. Yeah, good is not good enough. It was 2-0, so we could have won 3-0. And if we make better decisions, and I think it's about that, and it's good that players take each other in the responsibility and set high standards and set high demands to each other and control them. And so then sometimes you need a correction or you need a discussion to that the player is aware of his responsibilities.
And have you ever had a player like Casemiro before at Ajax, or one that you might have played with, that set the standards in those ways?
Oh, I had a player in Ajax who set such standards, but definitely Casemiro in this team, he's such a leader and he's so important for us. Not only with his performance, his skills, like scoring a goal with his header, or like linking up or intercepting balls, but so organization, the mentality, the culture, and we are so happy that we sign him.
Phil, I'm sure when you arrived you'll have been aware obviously of the United City rivalry. Were you aware of quite how fierce the rivalry is with the Scousers, and were you aware of Sir Alex's famous "knock them off their perch" quote? Did that crop up when you had your dinner?
No, I'm aware of it. I know where the rivalry is, and I know that the biggest rivalry from us is Liverpool. So we are totally aware of it.
Do you think you're taking a team of warriors, because you need warriors to go there as well as footballers?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we need strong mentality on Sunday if you want to win this game. Yeah.
Joe. Eric, over here, sorry. The game against Liverpool, the first one, for people in England that didn't know much about you, it was the first time they realised, wow, United have a manager that can make big decisions. You know, it was a big
term. And of course, but you don't always have a lot of time. In that period, I remember we had 10 days. So I could consider which choice would be the best. But I think you always have to think strategic. And so always, what is the consequence on longer term? And I'm aware of it, but that's my job, and that is the responsibility I have to take.
It was a successful decision, but were you worried that if it could have gone the other way, or you must have had reasons for making the decision? Can you explain?
I have reasons; they were obvious, but and I knew also the consequence, and also when it was a negative outcome from that game, what always is possible in football. But I'm not worrying. I'm not. I sleep well also in those nights, and I have to take the decisions in respect and in advance of the team and of the club. That's my job, and that is the responsibility I have to take, and I have to stand for those decisions.
Just going back to Casemiro, Eric. It's easy to scout a player these days and see what he can bring on the pitch. Is anything about his attitude, mentality, the way he sets the standards, he is in the dressing room, his off the pitch stuff, surprised you? And you mentioned to Jonathan as well that you had a player at Ajax that kind of set the standards for you. Did you feel that you needed to sign someone like that in the summer that could kind of be that bar at the top, if you want, that the other players had to follow?
I think when you go to recruitment in the summer, we were looking for players with character, with personality, and it was not only about signing a player. And a lot of players in the world, I can point. A lot of players have great skills, so technical approach, or they can run really fast. But we are looking for players who have character, players who have personality, who can leadership, who take responsibility, who are resilient. So that was the type of players I was looking for after I make the analysis of this squad.
Has Casemiro surprised you in just how good he is at those attributes you just mentioned?
No, in this attributes, absolutely not. I knew what a magnificent player he was. And just look to his profile. And you see all the cups he won. And that's not a coincidence. Like Rafa Varane and Casemiro, that they won 5 Champions League. That's not a coincidence. Not like that is so all of a sudden. No, for me it's always the same. That you have players who win, and who win always, and players who lose and always losing. That is, and you have to, of course, you have to do your research and find that type who will win and who are cooperative to in a dressing room. To be humble, but when they be on the pitch, they take responsibility, and you can sit on the bench and you are composed because you know the players will do the job and will deal with the situation and will bring you the wins.
Only got time for one more, I'm afraid, Simon.
Hi, Eric. Just going back to Joe's question there about discipline, we spoke to Raphael Varane last week and we asked the change that you had brought to the club, and he just said it in one word: we're now disciplined. Is that something that you recognised when you came to the club, that for all the talent that you've got at your disposal, there was maybe a lack of discipline in the dressing room, and that you needed to address that?
It was. I don't have to lie about it, but I think top players and they like structure. And they like structure on the pitch, but also you need some rules. And I think it's obvious in every organization, and you all work also in an organization. And when there are no rules, when there are there's no discipline in taking the rules serious, you get a mess. You get a mess everywhere, not only a football team, but also in the broadcasting stations where you're working for, the newspapers where you're working for. It's the same, and with us it's quite obvious what you get, because you see straight on the pitch what's going on.
Could you just ask one more about? I know you said you've been to Anfield